How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. It's Wednesday, and we got the full crew back. That's right. Myself, Mike, and Steph has definitely made it easier for you guys, as you won't hear Mike and I bickering like grumpy old men on front porch. So it is time to talk about a lot of different things. Yes, Skeleton Crew. The trailer came out at D23. This is the crew that's really going to be reviewing it. We're going to be doing spoiler reviews of it and everything. So we're going to talk about that trailer, and I haven't talked to both Steph and Mike about what they've thought about the trailer. So you guys know my opinions on it, but I'd like to get their thoughts. We got the Kraven trailer that hit. Is it going to be a trick? Because I didn't think the trailer looked that bad, but Sony movies have not been great. Was it just a decent trailer, or is the movie going to actually be okay? Same goes for Lord of the Rings. I didn't like that Lord of the Rings trailer. The season rather, and this trailer seems like, oh, you know what? We're listening a little bit more. We're going to make it more epic. We're going to make it look a little more Lord of the Rings, and we're going to really focus on it. But is that a trick? Is that a ruse? We're going to find out. Beetlejuice. That movie, I think, is going to be the biggest September movie of all time. It's tracking at like $70 or $80 million opening weekend. It's going to be a good movie, man. It's going to be a good movie, or at least do well box office-wise. I hope it's a good movie. And then Alien, Romulus. At this point, when you guys have seen this, well, maybe my review's out, maybe not. It's going to be at probably around 3 o'clock EST. So if I get this out of there first, I don't know yet. Maybe not. But nonetheless, Alien Romulus, the reviews are going to be out. The trailer reactions, the first initial social reactions are out. I had a chance to see it. That's another movie that's tracking pretty well. Is that movie going to do good? And should it do good? We'll discuss that and more on today's episode of The Big Thing with me, myself, and Steph. So let's get into it, everyone. It's The Big Thing. Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is The Big Thing, and it is Wednesday. It's myself, Steph Sabraw,
hey,
Mike Kalinowski,
hey,
all three of us. We're back. We did it. We made it. I can't believe it. We can't do it. You know, Steph, I got to tell you though, there was somebody that really missed you a lot.
Hey, Steph. How you doing?
Oh, you missed me.
Of course I miss. I mean, what kind of male would I be if I didn't miss Steph Sabral? I mean, come on. What's up, lady? How you doing? You excited to be in a comic book with me?
Yes, I am. I
That's
look
right.
really good.
Hell yeah! And come on, you're not just you. How about me? I look good.
No, you look fantastic. I like the big balls.
Thank you. You know what, Steph? You know what you should have said, and it would have been cool if you did. You just said, "Hey, big balls, you look slick as fuck." That's right. See, I can still make my lady laugh. That's what I got. Hell yeah! I see you on animated pages. Hey, Mike, you a sucker. You fucking whack bitch.
Man, he's coming in hot today.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
But for those people who don't know, we're going to be doing a Capes and Cows comic book that is done by the great Wicked Art. He's already done like 6 episodes, or 6 issues rather. He's going to have a whole thing in the anthology. And once we're done with the whole anthology, all of us are going to be doing our voices for the characters themselves. Mike's in it, Steph's in it, Winston, Coy, Roxy's, the Flirtin' Flowers, Big Balls. They're all in it. And it's gonna be pretty. I think the whole thing's gonna take around 2.5 hours to once it's out. How it's gonna be great. It's gonna be like epic music in it. I'm excited.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So all right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I guess the first thing we should talk about, guys, is the Skeleton Crew trailer. So we really didn't know. For those people who've been watching, the Acolyte. I think there are people who are maybe, I don't know if upset with us is the right word, bummed that we were not excited about Star Wars anymore. So we said, let's see what's going to happen with Skeleton Crew. We had a chance when we talk about this all the time. We went to Celebration. Myself, Steph, and Mike had an opportunity to talk to John Watts right outside of our hotel, and we talked to him about it, and he was really excited about it. He talked about the tone. He said that it was like Stranger Things meets Goonies in this world. And then I see this trailer.
Yeah.
I definitely saw the Goonies part of it. I felt the Amblin Entertainment part of it. I didn't feel Stranger Things really at all. Feels definitely geared towards 10 to 15-year-olds. This is what I said, Steph, and I'm curious how you feel about it after watching that trailer. I said, okay, it doesn't feel like a Star Wars show to me, and that's not a bad thing for this one. It's not, it doesn't. Yeah, it's great. You have a Jedi in it, you got aliens, sure, but it feels like Super 8 in a science fiction, or like someone like what J.J. Abrams did for Super 8, who was inspired by these Amblin movies, wanted to do something in this, and made like this cool science fiction adventure film with kids or TV show with kids. The quality looks good. It looks like I'm intrigued. It looks fun. But, as far as being like, oh, I feel like I'm right in that Star Wars world, I didn't. But I think that it could be a thing I'm going to watch with my 12-year-old and my 6-year-old for sure and see how it pans out. How did you feel about it?
I think that it looked really good, and I totally agree. It was like instant Goonie vibes, but I was looking for that Stranger Things, and I didn't get it. But I thought to myself, oh, I think this is gonna be like Percy Jackson with
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars. And it was cool to see when Percy Jackson came out, because I thought, oh, if I was the right, or like a little bit younger, this would be probably my favorite show on TV. So I think that I feel the same way. Like, I'm happy for my younger cousins, and I think I'm going to like it. I just think it's more geared towards a little bit a different grouping than me.
Yeah, Mike, you hated it. Why?
I didn't. Shut your mouth. I didn't say that. No, it just, Steph kind of encapsulated it. I love Goonies. I grew up with it.
Yeah.
And, when we're kids watching those movies, we put ourselves in those kids' positions. And so for kids, this I think will be like, it just was seeing like suburbs at the beginning was weird. It really took me out of Star Wars for a second, because I'm like, and I get it, but a cantina is a bar.
Yeah.
A cantina in Star Wars is a bar in our world, but it doesn't feel like a bar.
Right. This felt like the suburbs.
It felt like I was looking up at the hills of Burbank over on my shoulder here, which is, again, E.T., Stranger Things.
Right. Well, that was my point. My point was that it established that feel, that tone.
Oh, yeah.
It's just when you look at it, you go, it just doesn't feel. It feels like a different fantasy sci-fi thing, which is look. We haven't seen the show yet. We don't know what the story is going to be, and we could be engaged in it. And the problem is this: that we're just coming off of so many clunkers that it's like, this is you want them to capture. Well, we do anyway. The three of us want them to capture that spirit of what they did in Andor and Mandalorian season 1 and 2, the original trilogy, like those. We were hoping for that type of thing, and they're like, well, that's not what this is. And it's like, I get it, but it's also where, they're they're coming off of the Acolyte, which is like just a wet fart. And when that is the case, it's like, I hope it hits. And I like John Watts. Did you watch The Old Man season 2 trailer, Mike? Because I didn't see that.
Of course I did. Are you kidding me?
Is it great?
It's awesome.
Okay.
They really upped the ante on that one. Yeah, they went balls to the wall on that one.
Well, and that's why I'm hopeful for this, though, because John Watts is I think that he's going to deliver on what he's promising. And I just look, if it's for me, look, I can get over. Well, it doesn't feel like it belongs in the Star Wars world. Is it a good story? Do I care about these characters?
Do I have fun?
Do I have fun? Do I care about the characters? That, to me, I can get over it, because I can go, okay, I understand that at this point, trying to make it feel like Star Wars and making it feel for a new generation, it's not necessarily aimed at us. Okay, but if I'm watching it, can I enjoy it? And I feel like it has enough in there that I'm built out here, Steph, that I can, if it delivers on the writing and everything else, we can have a good time with this thing.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about it. I like that there's all these faces that I haven't seen. It makes me excited for the young actors getting these types of roles, and then hopefully fulfilling, the promise that people are looking for, is like a new generation to watch in Star Wars. That would be cool just for the younger generation. And then Jude Law is such a great, like, oh, if my mom's watching it with me, she's going to love it.
Right.
As soon as he comes on the screen, I'm like, okay, you're going to please like an older generation instantly, whether you just think he's the hottest or understand that he's a great actor.
Yeah, and I think that, Mike, the Jude Law aspect of it is, there's two questions. One, yet another Jedi that survived, so he's running around. So how they explain that, who knows?
Right.
I'm sure that they can. But the other side of it is, are they going to carry Ann Moss us with Jude Law?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, hey, yeah, Jude Law's in this, and he's in like one episode.
Yeah.
Except for he did show up to the celebration.
Sure.
And I feel like he's been super involved, so that would be just weird.
I mean, after that Carrie-Anne Moss thing, because we always thought, okay, well, she's gonna have more to do in the flashbacks. She's in like 1 or 2 episodes in flashbacks, and it's or not flashbacks rather, but like previous whatever it was. And I'm like, again, just missed opportunities over there. But I feel like you'd be silly if you get Jude Law, and you can, even if he's like, well, he's expensive to have him in too many episodes, well, then spread him out, shoot a bunch of things, and spread him out throughout different times, because you want to have him, because there are going to be people who see the casual fans that see the kids and go, oh, this is just a kid's show. But if you see Jude Law, you can go, oh, all right, well, let me see what this is all about. Because if it's just a bunch of kids you don't recognize, you're going to automatically just think it's a kid's show with kids in it. But if you see Jude Law, you might still say, okay, kid, oh, what's this? And, oh, he's a Jedi? All right, I'll tune in. And I don't know, I feel now, and even the logo says Star Wars Skeleton Crew. I wonder if there's a lot of hype on it. Do you think there's a lot of hype on this thing?
No, I haven't really heard of it being that talked about.
I'll say this. Over the past, 4 or 5 days since D23, the usuals on the Star Wars Twitters had been quiet. It's been quiet.
Right.
I would expect the both camps of this is terrible. How dare they? And also my God, I can tell I love this characters already, and I want to marry them. This show needs to get in my veins now.
Yeah, well, both of those. Yeah, you're right. But they both.
I'm not hearing from either of these groups.
It's true. Well, the only thing that they went after at first was the big. They tried to. You made a point about the suburbs. You didn't. Bitch and moan about it. But the suburbs. Well, suburbs. No one's listening. Okay, forget it. It's like they tried to scream about the suburbs for a second, and nobody really cared. It was like.
And it looked like I'd said. I think I tweeted out something about it. It looks like it's going to be 20 minutes of the first episode, and then
they're going to be they're going to be off in space, getting lost in an adventure, and like I'm excited for that that aspect of it, and sign me up. So if we'll be watching it. So for people wondering, yes, we'll be doing the same way that we did it. I'll do my immediate reaction to the episode. I'll probably do a reaction as I'm watching it, and then Mike, myself, and Steph will do spoiler reviews like we do for all the Star Wars shows. We'll do those again like we do for everyone. And speaking of that, though, that might be the last one that we do for quite a while, guys, because D23, they didn't announce any new Star Wars. Oh, no, that's not true. Andor Season 2, obviously, we'll be doing. But that comes out next year. So that was one that they said, for people who saw the footage, really enjoyed it, people were amped up about it. So Andor will be the last for a bit, because the Lando thing got canceled. And it was my Did you see that back and forth, Mike, that I have with that one person? I was thinking of you when I was tweeting. I wrote. No. Someone tagged me on the fact that it got canceled, and I said, "Oh, I'm super surprised that it got canceled." Right? And then someone wrote back, "Relax, it's gonna be a movie." And I'm like, "No, it isn't.
No, it's done.
It's done.
It's done.
No, it isn't." And it's like, "Relax." Like, okay? Tell Patty Jenkins, tell Benioff and Weiss, tell Ryan Johnson's trilogy. Tell Taika Waititi, tell everybody, yeah, it's still happening. Stop this.
Relax.
Well, did you guys see, I think it was this past week, where Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know if she was quoted, but I thought she was, that she said she wants to go out on a win.
No, I didn't even see, I don't think, she wasn't even there, though, at D23. She wasn't on stage anyway.
Someone posted, like, that's what she's waiting on. She wants to go out with, like, a win at Star Wars.
Well, then she's going to wait for Mandalorian and Grogu.
That title. Dude, the fact that that's still going.
Well,
Jesus.
Look, I hate the title. I hate it.
It's awful.
But it is a smart title. But I hate the title.
I get it. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, it's...
I hate Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be your marquee thing?
Yeah, because it's going to get those newscasters that are going, oh, did you check out Baby Yoda last night's episode? Those people are going to be... Because what's coming out? Mandalorian and Grogu. And then they're going to be so excited because it's that little Baby Yoda, and that's what they're going to sell it on. And that movie, to me, could be the Deadpool and Wolverine of Star Wars. And what I mean by that is that it can...
I know what you mean.
Well, it can breathe life back into the franchise again. But the following movie needs to be what Captain America Brave New World needs to be. That movie needs to hit in order for it to keep moving. You notice they did not announce what will be the next movie after Mandalorian and Grogu. They didn't say it was going to be. They signed Daisy Ridley for $12 million. They brought her out Celebration. No mention of it.
Yeah.
No mention of the movie with Filoni because they got to figure out Ahsoka season 2, and no mention of the Mangold movie. No mention of the Sean Levy movie. So, Steph, where do you think they go after Mandalorian and Grogu, and maybe that's what Mike's saying. Maybe they hand the reins over to somebody else after. Does Kathleen Kennedy leave after Mandalorian and Grogu, or she's probably going to stick around?
Well, at first I thought that Mike said she wants to go out on a whim, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be fun, just go out when it feels right." But
whatever.
I think, yeah, on a whim. But I think that it would be a good time to, kind of reset the slate as Marvel is doing now, and take that beat and figure out really figure out what direction you want to go in. And if that doesn't fit Kennedy, then that would be a great time for her to exit, especially after that movie. So hopefully that does well, and then they already have their next direction plan. But I think the next movie I'd guess it'd be the Rey movie. It just makes the most sense in terms of the most news we've gotten about the movie, the most confidence. But yeah, that's what I would think, but I don't know.
I would have told you yes on that, especially if they would have announced it at D23. I said, yeah, that's what they're going with. But the fact that they didn't announce that as the movie coming out afterwards in the same year, because they announced 2026 for that movie, the fact that they didn't announce it in the same year is curious. Doesn't mean necessarily it's not happening, but it's curious.
Very curious, huh?
Very curious. Do you think, Mike, that that's the next movie to come for sure, or or I don't know?
At this point, let me tell you something. I have no friggin' idea what's going on over there at the House of Disney. I don't know, man. I don't know.
You don't know.
I think they're in a state of denial,
chaos.
That like at least DC a couple years ago, like, all right, we're in the crapper. We got to do something. Toss it all and restart, which they needed to do. And then Marvel's kind of like, whoa, boy, we bit off more than we could chew. We got a little big in our britches. Let's pump the brakes. We're going to have to release some of these clunkers we still got in the can, but we're going to pivot. But Star Wars hasn't done that yet. They're still out like, well, those don't work. We're going to keep on cranking. Did you say, Harloff, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks?
Maybe.
That's what seems like they're doing. What, you got an idea? Let's try this.
Yeah.
It's not sticking.
Well,
Taika wants to do a movie. Just throw this out there.
But maybe saying such limited things at D23 is that change. Maybe that is that change, because Andor season 2 we know is happening, right? That got a good pop. Mandalorian and Grogu we know is happening. That got a good pop. And then basically that was really it. That they did. They didn't really do anything else, and Skeleton Crew obviously, but like those 3 things are done. That's the smart move.
Sure.
It's like don't announce. Oh, we talked to so and so last week at a coffee shop, and they're going to do a movie now, and then they don't do the movie, and they look like you add them to the list. So they're like, stop doing that. They also, Steph, took our advice. If you were paying attention to it, Kathleen Kennedy did not read off the announcements. It was Filoni and Favreau, and she was not on stage, which is, again, she just is not good on a presentation. So it's smart. Right. She comes off as a politician, and so I don't know. Maybe they're starting to turn things around. I don't believe at all that Acolyte season 2 is getting. Is getting renewed. I don't think it's going to happen at all. This is why I understand why you and Roka, Mike, are so bad at Twitter. I understand like how you're so addicted.
No, let's hear this one.
You're atrocious at it. But what I will say is I found myself do this for a second, and I slapped my own hand because there was somebody who said, "Here we go, new announcements for Star Wars. Make Acolyte 2 season 2 happen." And I was going to write back, no, and I was like, "What are you doing? Let the person have it. If the person likes it, let them have it. Who cares?" But I was like, "There's no world where that's happening. There's no world where that's happening.
No world does that show get a second season.
And if it does, someone should get fired." If someone green for $170 million, that show should have been the most beloved show. If you're making a movie, a show for that amount of money, you got to aim towards everybody, and they didn't do that. But anyway, moving on past Star Wars, we got to get to this. Kraven, the new trailer, Kraven the Hunter, comes out today, and there were 2 trailers that came out, and they both confused me because when they both come out, and Sony movies in the Marvel phase, the Spider-Man phase, minus the Tom Holland collaborations with MCU, have been god awful for the most part, right? And the last Madame Web was terrible. Like everything,
it wasn't that bad.
What's your thoughts on Venom?
Terrible. Are you kidding?
Well, the ADR. No, the ADR should be totally villainized forever.
Who? The
ADR of Madame Web. It was the worst.
Oh my god!
It was truly like ruined.
Oh my god!
It did ruin the movie, but I actually like the other stuff.
Did you? But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Did you see it on television?
I saw it on Netflix.
Yes, exactly. Of course you did. You did. Of course.
What do you mean?
Every single person that I have talked to that has seen it on Netflix, that was fine because you're not paying for it. You're not going to the theater and sitting down and watching that movie. You're going, I want to see how terrible it is. And it's not, look, it is not one of the worst movies of all time, but it's not a good movie. It's sloppy. The villain is awful.
It's just the villain, which is crazy. Just that actor.
Sydney Sweeney comes off as a believable nerd.
She's fine to me. I actually really like Dakota, and I want to follow this girl gang. I'm sorry, guys. I like them.
Okay.
Like her at the end with like the sunglasses and the wheelchair is actually
when she came wheeling in there.
It's sick.
Jesus.
It's actually sick.
No, I'm sorry. She's a paramedic that had a problem helping people.
It's
like from the beginning when that started happening. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Matt Serra called me up and said the same thing. Steph, he was like, that's not that bad. But nonetheless, the movie, you can see why it didn't make a lot of money in the theater.
No, right. If I was in theater, it really was shocking to see the ADR on Netflix. Even on Netflix, like Harry and I were like, what the?
Right. If you paid for that movie, like because what you were coming off of was how bad it was and it was getting panned all over the place. And you're like, well, let's see how.
I was expecting
the
cats.
Worst. Right. Right. Well, that's my point. But if you didn't know anything about it and you spent you and your husband went and you spent, $20 some odd dollars to go see it.
Like $40 to see a movie.
Right.
That's right.
Right. If let's say it's $40 and that was what you spent your $40 on, you would probably have a different opinion on it. But nonetheless, they're not making good movies over there with the other Morbius and got everything. It's just terrible. So when the first Kraven trailer comes out, I'm like, who cares? This trailer to me looked like a hardcore, violent, rated R action movie that if I didn't know it was a Sony movie, I'd be like, what's that? It's got Russell Crowe in it. It's got Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's got Johnny Cash playing in the background. Sign me up. I was like, wait a minute. Are they duping me? I feel like they're duping me, but I'm interested in this trailer. Am I wrong, Steph?
No, I felt the same way. I was like, this feels not like Marvel at all. Like when I don't know what those traps are called that have all the
thirst traps.
Bear trap.
Yeah, and then he put that on his head. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was brutal.
We like this. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it looked really cool. I like the actors in it. I think the story looks good. It gave me John Wick vibes. I was like, this is giving me what I like in an action movie. So I'm curious to see how it all plays out. But just from the trailer, I'm so into it.
It had like a bigger budget, and it reminded me of like Dolph Lundgren's Punisher. It was like, it was so old school. But I mean, look, it had Rhino looked stupid, and there's some other things that were going on that, but I don't trust Sony. That's my biggest problem. The trailer, whoever cut the trailer did a great job because I went, well, wait a minute, what's this movie? I actually care. Mike, did you care at all? Do you know anything about this character?
Yeah, well, of course. But like, I actually liked the first trailer.
Okay.
When that came out, I was kind of like, okay. It's hard to get past the fact that these are Spider-Man villains with no Spider-Man. It's like, and I know what they're doing. I know they're like, well, look what the Joker did. We got this whole library of villains. We don't need the main hero. So I got to kind of take it for what it is, but they're going to try and shoehorn in Peter Parker and Spider-Man every chance they get, like in Madame Web. Every friggin' second they're referencing that damn character that they can't use or say. Like, so I'm like, are they going to just tell a story? Or are we going to be trying to tie it into Spider-Man?
Do you know what's so stupid about that? They can say it if they wanted to.
I don't. That's the thing.
They own it. They can say
Disney
it.
has to ask Sony to use Spider-Man.
Right. Sony could have said it all the whole damn time. They didn't need. They didn't.
So
need
what are
to
they doing?
It was so stupid in Madame Web. It was so dumb.
What are we doing here?
Is Kraven a villain in the comics?
Yeah, he's a Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man, big guy.
Oh, I want.
And they
him
full
to
on
be a
go
good
the
guy.
cool the lion coat he wears. That's full on awesome. Like they went, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're very happy with the director. So this is something from Dark Horizons. They talk about this director right now, and they said that Sony is very happy with the Kraven director. Sony Pictures is reportedly happy enough with the latest cut of Spider-Man spin-off Kraven the Hunter that the film's director, J.C. Chander, has closed a deal with them to direct his next project, says Deadline. That untitled project will reportedly be a return to the contemporary thriller drama genre of his earlier works like Margin Call, A Most Violent Year, and Triple Frontier. Chander is penning the new film, which is setting to involve an investigation into a death in a rich and powerful dynasty and is being dubbed Succession with an Aaron Brockovich feel. First draft is done and casting should be quite soon. The deal comes after the studio saw the latest cut of Kraven, which stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe, Fred Hechinger, Ariana DeBose, and Alessandro Nivola. The film was delayed several times and is now opening in a prime mid-December release slot, which reportedly allowed Chander to tighten and sharpen what he had, along with doing some strategic reshoots. The studio is obviously hoping for another Venom as opposed to another Madame Web or Morbius. Chandler tells the outlet, I think it's going to surprise the hell out of a lot of people. This is, again, I don't know what kind of hype we're doing here, but it's working on me. It's working on me because this is a business decision, right? You look at you say, all right, there. Let's see what you're gonna give you some time to cut this thing, do what you got to do. Now, what do you got? Holy crap, this guy's as good as we thought he was. Sign him up, and they sign him up, and they're putting that movie out in December because they put Madame Web out on February, Valentine's Day, to hope that it could get something, but they could have stuck it in January, and everybody would have been fine with it. But December is a prime spot, and it's not too far. And Venom's coming out in October, I think.
We got another one of those coming out?
Yeah, Venom's coming out in October. So
oh my god.
They could have now. I think Venom's going to be farts on a platter, but as far as quality, I think it'll make money though, and I think that movie that makes money. And if Kraven turns out to do what he did and surprises everybody, His Most Violent Year and those other movies, this is a really good director we're dealing with here. Could this actually be a good movie, Steph?
Yeah, I think so. It looks good. I was expecting something kind of just corny and not my taste.
Yeah.
And then from the first shot, I was like, I like this. And the music mixed in, it feels a little James Gunny, which I like that take on comic books.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be good, guys. I don't know.
Mike, this gets me, these comments of them signing him up to another deal right after they saw this cut is promising.
I like Aaron Taylor Johnson too. I really like him.
Me too.
He was kind of when they were going for bigger names, he was my pick for Bond. One of my picks for Bond. But I like him as an actor. Russell Crowe is great whenever he shows up. Even though, do you guys ever see that? I think it was called Unhinged. He was like a road rage driver.
The worst. Harry sometimes puts on like $2 Tubi movies, and I hate it. And I don't like scary movies, and I was just like hooked on watching how actually unhinged this movie is.
Yeah,
it was crazy. He also looked like totally different than he's been looking. Right. I was like, he looks unhinged. This is unhinged. I can't believe he did this movie.
Anytime he shows up, I'm like sold for as long as he's in, like, for the amount of time he's on screen. I'm like, okay. Like when he was in The Mummy, which stunk.
He was in The Mummy. That's right. You know, my favorite.
But he's good in it.
I've told this story before, where for people who were Schmodown fans, or you know the name Tom Dagnino. When this was years before he was ever on air with me, and we were friends. We were at this thing. I can't remember what boxing match it was. It was a boxing match, and there was people over this person's house, and we were watching. You know, when they show like the celebrities in the crowd.
Yeah.
And they're panning back and forth, and everybody just watching. It's like a big crowd of people watching this fight, whatever fight it was. And so they pan, and Russell Crowe's there, and Tom stands up and goes, "Look, it's Russell Crowe!" And he's so excited, and it just crickets in the room. and it was just like, and he just kind of went, and then sat down. And then
oh my gosh.
But it was like, "Look, it's Russell Crowe." I was like, "Yeah, it's Russell Crowe. What do you want us to do?" It was the best. But Russell Crowe will be seen in this movie, and I'm hoping. Look, I'm hoping this. I would love nothing more than to say on my list on the top 10 of the year, who would have thought that Kraven the Hunter hit my top 10 list? I would love that. Now, the other thing to jump into before we get into another show, which we're going to do, is I got to tell you guys, the most important thing to do is to make sure you spray water on your rear ends. That's right, with Tushy. You got to do the Tushy bidets. I'm going to tell you about Tushy, and I'm going to tell you about our friends over at Liquid IV. I'll tell you about both right now. So many comments lately about everybody that's buying the Tushies, and I see why you're buying them. I love them. You love them. Chris Carr loves them. Everybody loves the Tushies. I'm so excited to get you guys to get a Tushy that I almost thought about doing this from the bathroom, but then I was like, no, I want you to get it. It's terrible. That's a terrible thing for me to do, but I want to do it because I want to show you how much I love the Tushies. Check this out alone. Look at this. Just open up the toilet lid. You spray the water right in your tush. It's wonderful. Look at that. That's how it works. It's that easy. You put it on the toilet. You open it up. You spray the water on your butt. It's lovely. It's going to change the way that you think about cleaning up after a spicy dump in a coffee shop or a porta potty during a music festival. You're going to want to take Tushy with you everywhere, and thankfully you can. Because the Tushy Travel, it's collapsible, it's durable, and discreet portable bidet that gives you the most confident clean on the go. I keep telling people about these things. Everybody are getting the Tushies now, and everyone's like, oh, man, can I use your code? Can I use your code? Of course you can. It's the best. I got one. I've got two in my house right now, and it is so wonderful. We feel classy in this house. It's got a 3-stream nozzle for a total clean. It's got a new air mesh bag for discreet travel, faster dry time. It comes in 5 new colors. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and 12-month warranty. So stop wiping until you bleed. Join the 2 million butts who have already made the switch to Tushy. For a limited time only, our listeners get 10% off your entire order, but you got to use that code BIGTHING. 10% off Hello Tushy, HELLTUSHY.com with the promo code BIGTHING. I was having a barbecue with the family, and I was going to go and we went to pick up some games for the kids to play, and I was picking up cornhole, and while I was at the sports store getting it, I kept seeing Liquid IV, and more, I'm so excited that people are learning about Liquid IV because I've known about them now for a bit since they've been on the show. It's the summer. The summer is thick right now, and your favorite summer treat could be giving you extraordinary hydration. Liquid IV has refreshing summer flavors like popsicle firecracker, it's got rainbow sherbet. It hits the spot when you need transformative, hydrating relief all summer long. So I really do enjoy it. It's been nice to have it. I moved, and I live in a very humid area now, and it's great to have Liquid IV. It really is. And I love this popsicle one, so I'm showing it right now. So what you want to do is they have so many different flavors, too, that makes it just really, really fresh. And you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors. They have raspberry melon, they have white peach, they have green grape. It's great. You can go to the website, and you can find all of it. It keeps your wellness rituals fresh, and it keeps you motivated, it keeps you hydrated. So what you want to do is you want to tear, pour, live more. 1 stick, 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It's powered by LIV Hydroscience, which is an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. It's got 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. So indulge in hydration this summer with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV, but you got to use liquidiv.com and use the code BIGTHING at checkout. You get 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today. Use that promo code BIGTHING at liquidiv.com. All right. Thank you to our friends over at Tushy, Liquid IV. As I mentioned many times over, for those people who have been clicking on the links and getting something, yes, you help out the show tremendously. You're the reason we're still doing this show. I'm telling you that right now. But for those who are like, well, I don't know if I want to get anything, I'm not sure. I usually I skip past the ads. Click on the links. I'm not telling you have to get anything. Click on the links. browse around. You get something wonderful. If you're not, that helps us out too. Click on those links. It's called Conversions. Helps. Okay. Lord of the Rings. Rings of Power Season 2. I forget what you guys thought of this. I don't even know if Mike has even seen it. But
I didn't.
You didn't. I didn't think you did. But Lord of the Rings Season 1, there were parts of it that I was like, oh, okay, we look like we could be doing some stuff. And then for the most part, I just thought it was not good. I thought they lost their way. I didn't care about a lot of the characters. I couldn't even tell you. Galadriel was fine, and I think that's being nice. There was really no one that I was like, oh, I'm so attached to this show, and I hated the main twist at the very end of it. And I was like, I don't know if they even need to do another one of these things. Let's just do Andy Serkis is doing a Gollum movie later on. Let's just go with that. We don't need a season 2 of this. And then this trailer comes out, and I know they had another trailer recently, but I didn't see it. I feel the same way I did about Kraven. I'm like, are they tricking me? Because this thing looks epic. It looks solid. It looks like they're going more so of the Peter Jackson kind of tone. They're going more into the war stuff. It looks higher quality, but I wonder if they got the same editor from Kraven to do this trailer, because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm confused again. Why does this? I actually am interested in this. And Steph, did you see season 1? Did you care about season 1 at all? Did you feel the same way? And what did you think about the season 2 trailer?
I liked season 1. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I was super excited for it, but I wasn't anything. They didn't knock it out of the park for me. I thought that I don't know, Peter Jackson just did I'm reading all the books now, and he just did such a great job of simplifying some of the complexities, but focusing on the complexities that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Rings of Power, I felt like they were trying to get complex, but they didn't execute the complexity that well. And then it was a little bit like I was interested in some things and not the others.
Right.
So I'm looking forward. Yeah, this season looks really good. I didn't mind. I liked the twist. I like a twist every now and then. I didn't know that was coming because I hadn't read the Similarian, or the one that talks about beforehand. So I didn't know that. I thought there was something weird about that character, but I don't think I realized anything until maybe the Pentultimate.
Okay.
Honestly. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It's like, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. When someone spends that much money, I want it to do well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you know what everyone wants.
You know, it's like these are so many people's investments. I liked Galadriel, but I agree in terms of an overall cast. Like, usually I know, like, for example, when I was watching House of the Dragon, the first episode, it's like I went to go look at every single actor and see, follow some of them, and interested in to see their other work. This one is like everyone is good, but no one I like the dwarves.
Out.
Yeah, no one was like insane.
You can remember dwarves, you can remember elves because that's Lord of the Rings, and you can, and of course you remember Galadriel, and you remember the fact with Sauron and all that, because again they've been set up through Lord of the Rings. But if I said to you, what's going to happen is when you're watching the show in season 2, you're like, oh yeah, that person. Oh yeah, I remember them. Like, who do you remember right off the bat that you're like, oh yeah, they're great? You have to go into your memory and really think about it. No one stands out. Like with the House of the Dragon, as you mentioned, you can bring up so many different characters, and it's so well crafted and so well written. So if season 2 doesn't work, they should put an end to it.
Yeah,
for sure. But Mike, I know you watched the trailer for this, right?
Yeah.
And you're just not a Lord of the Rings person.
Well, I loved the original, and I actually am probably in the minority where I like the Hobbit movies.
Okay.
They're nowhere near as good as the original trilogy stuff, but
the extendeds are okay.
Good. But then watching this, I watched parts of season 1. It reminded me of like a McDonald's commercial where you see their burgers and you're like, my God, that looks good.
Yeah.
And then you go to the store and you order a burger and you're like, what happened here? Where's my cheese? Where's my burger? This doesn't look like that. So I'm trying to think, do you remember, it had to been back maybe pre-pandemic, it seems like, and we were in the Schmodown in the thick of it. And I remember they announced a Lord of the Rings TV series. I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be incredible. And now here we are getting into season 2, and everyone are kind of like,
Right. Well,
they fumbled. It seemed like it fumbled huge.
There have been seasons of television that have dropped the ball in season 1 and come back in season 2 and delivered and then gotten better. So you always hope that they say, okay, look, we took the faults of what happened in season 1, we readjusted, and I hope you guys enjoy what we're doing, because the trailers that they're releasing so far, people are digging and seeing the tone has changed. Now, they, like, as I mentioned, not joked at the same time, they could have hired the same company that did the Kraven trailer, and both those, the movie and the show could wind up being terrible, and then the person who made the trailer is just getting a raise and cutting trailers everywhere they go.
I don't know, man. I don't know, maybe if I'm getting older and my palate's changing and stuff, but I feel like when I watch a trailer, I can still tell, like,
I don't know, man.
Like, okay, perfect example, 2 of them, Thunderbolts and then Fantastic Four. Thunderbolts I'm watching, and I was really excited for Thunderbolts, but after that first trailer, like, oh boy, watching Fantastic Four, it wasn't even really a trailer, it was footage that they worked on, test stuff, but I was like, oh, this is in great hands, they know when this thing's going to be golden.
All right, so I asked you guys, what do you think, man? You got this trailer for both Kraven, you got the trailer for Lord of the Rings. Do you think there's a shot? Did you like the first Lord of the Rings season and you're like, there's nothing wrong with it, it was great? Or did you say, like, no, it wasn't good, this trailer looked a lot better? Or do you think the trailer stinks? Put your thoughts in there. Tell us what you think. All right, that makes us jump to this. All right, this is actually from Comic Book Movie. Alien Romulus could be looking at a 50 million debut. The critics share first social media reactions, and that was from yesterday. But first reactions to Alien Romulus hit last week, but they were from fans who attended a screening. Now, critics have shared their thoughts on Fede Alvarez's film prior to the full review embargo lifting soon. Nobody here is calling Romulus the best movie in the franchise, not quite anyway, but it certainly sounds as if director Fede Alvarez has done a great job of tapping into the visceral terror and to the chills of Ridley Scott's original and James Cameron's more action-heavy sequel. While none of the posts are negative, the last act is said to be a big swing that's sure to divide fans, and Alvarez may also rely a little too heavily on fan service. Full reviews drop tomorrow evening, but regardless of the critical consensus, Romulus is looking at a very impressive opening weekend at the box office. According to updated stats, the movie is expected to make between 28 million and 38 million. Independent tracking services put it closer to 40 or 50. There are a ton of reactions that you guys can check out should you want to see it. Okay. And you check out mine. Anyway, so what I will say about it is that are either one of you big Alien franchise fans?
What do you mean by that?
Not of whether or not, look, I love the first Alien. I love the second Aliens. There are people who are just like junkies and love the franchise in general. They know the back and forth. They know the history. They know everything like any other fandom, right? But I'm not that person that like knows everything. Like there are certain things that went over my head that related to other things inside the movie that might piss people off, but didn't piss me off because I didn't care enough. But there were things like the most important thing to me was the thing that I don't want to get too much into it because this whole week I've been talking about it. But as I've always said, when they spend too much money on these movies and they spend $180 million on these movies and they get these actors that are $20 million a piece and they blow their budgets out and go, how come we didn't make any money? But then you go and you spend $60 million on this movie or whatever it was, $70 million, you get good, high quality talent. You get Kaylee Spaney, and then you have this new guy, I think David Johnson is his name, and he's phenomenal. He's really great. You have a lot of different people. Elizabeth Merced, is that the right name?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from Sicario.
Yes. There are really, really good actors in it. But what he does, Fede Alvarez, is he brings back that tension. He brings back that feel of like it's like a location on the ship. You know how scary the aliens can be. You know the tricks of what they can do, and he still kind of sets that kind of horror tone in motion. And I feel it, right? And I care about the characters enough that I feel it. Yes, the third act does do a big swing. That some people are going to go, what? I didn't do that. I went, oh, that's different and kind of creepy. And it worked for me. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked the movie a lot. I could see it making money. But Steph, do you care about these movies at all?
I love the first and second one. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so, and I saw the first and second ones way later in life, but they're really, really awesome. This one looks really scary, and it's all kind of similar. So I don't, at least it looks similar
Yeah.
from the outside. So I don't think it's like anything. I think that's probably part of the problem, is that not only are all of within the franchise similar, but I feel like so many space movies following Alien and Aliens have tried to do an Alien or Aliens. So it's like seeing the same story kind of play out,
Sure,
constant.
I understand that concern, but I think that's what separates Fede Alvarez from other people, because the way he uses sound, the lack of sound sometimes
Yeah.
in this, what he does in this movie, and the music, the way that he plays with certain shots. Like, yes, there have been people who've done movies that are similar, but in order to make it blend into that tone of it, the story takes place in between Alien and Aliens, and to make that fit, to do it in a certain way that it does make sense. I think that's what makes it special. I think it's him. I think that Fede Alvarez is the star of this film, and you can see it, and that's why the pacing is just go 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 the whole time. So that's what I dug about it. But Mike, are you going to see this in the theater?
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Thanks for the insight.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm doing nights now with this new thing I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it. There's been a couple of his movies that's come out this summer that I just did not see in theaters that I'm really kind of bummed that I didn't get the chance to see.
Like what?
Furiosa.
Yeah, Furiosa was one
that and Bad Boys.
Good.
Furiosa
both
was
those
the first.
I really wanted to see in theaters. I just couldn't. I mean, the fact that they took them out after like 3 weeks, I'm like,
yeah, just those. Well, remember, because
10 years ago, I would still get a chance to see Furiosa right now.
Well, in May, people thought the box office was it was over, because everything in May pretty much bombed.
Yeah,
everything in May bombed.
I mean, I know the whole logistics of pushing the summer movie season into May and beginning of April, but I mean, back in the day, you know how it was. Movie theaters, it was Memorial Day weekend. They kick off the summer.
Yeah, May was always, dude. The beginning of May was always a summer thing. It was April that started to be that thing of like,
nah. Look at like back in the day. I mean,
go back in time.
Like Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
89 came out in June.
Right.
Those big movies. It was always June. Was like the big kickoff.
I'm
saying years and years ago.
You'd have to go into that's a hard one to argue, only because 1989, you go back into 1989, the amount of classic movies that came out in 1989 from January all the way to December is incredible. It's arguably the most. It's arguably the best year of movies ever. It's incredible. When I read you off the list of movies that came out in 1989, like there's like all-time classics. Field of Dreams, I think of Lethal Weapon 2, I think of Major League. I think there's
25 years ago.
25,
isn't it?
No, 25 years ago was 1999.
Hold on a second.
It's all right, you're almost there. Get the math.
No, it isn't. It's almost 25 years.
What are you talking about?
1999.
I said 89, my friend. 89.
Oh, you're saying 89, summer 89.
Yeah, 89.
Okay,
and that's summer all of 89.
I think you said because 99 was phenomenal too.
99 was good too, but anyway, we're getting off.
Oh yeah, 89. That's summer. Oh Jesus!
No, I'm talking about that whole year. Go through that whole year. Your mind will be blown. But nonetheless, this is we'll see what happens with Alien Romulus. I hope. I mean, I think people are going to see it. I mean, 50 million for an opening weekend is a big number. It'll take some off of Deadpool, but Deadpool's already hit 1 billion. It'll probably do 1.4. We went into it again on Monday. With Deadpool and Wolverine, I think Deadpool Wolverine taps out about 1.5, 1.6.
Let me ask you this.
Maybe 1.7. Yeah.
So pre its release, I would have said, this might creep close to 2 billion box office.
Wow.
I thought so.
Wow.
Opening weekend, gangbusters. And don't get me wrong, it's a massive hit, still going strong. But I think the fact, because again, you got to remember there's a massive portion of movie-going audiences that are like, I'm waiting for streaming. But I think the hype for this one, they're like, oh, I'm going to see this in theaters. This seems like a can't miss. But then over the weekend of opening weekend, everyone, including the director and the actors, were spoiling the film.
Yeah.
I think those people that would have gone to the theater are like, well, I'm seeing all the cameos. I'll catch it at home. Yeah. I'll bet it hurt its box office. Again, when I say hurt, it's billions. It doesn't matter. But I think they could have cleared $2 billion Had they kept it non-spoiler free, the one like 2 weeks out, if you had to go, I got to see this movie. I got it. But like the opening weekend, it was spoiled.
I think
all the big cameos.
I think they're okay with it. The fact that
I know they are. And I don't think they cared.
I think the fact that
I'm just saying, I think it could have, because it's that much fun.
Maybe.
And it's a Barbenheimer movie by itself. The confluence of everything happening.
But look at it in their perspective also. It's like if if enough people start seeing that they're going to start spoiling it all. It would have gotten spoiled all over the place. I think it was stupid for them to start spoiling it right as Comic-Con before the movie even comes out. And
that just was a steamroll.
It was.
It just steamrolled the spoiling of it. Like when you had the director retweeting people's camera footage in the theater of it.
You'd be surprised though, man, because like when that Henry Cavill stuff got leaked with Black Adam, that actually boosted sales. So who knows?
Yeah, but that movie needed a boost.
It did. That
movie needed every boost it could get.
But anyway, the point is that that movie still is going to probably clear anywhere between 1.5, 1.6. Inside Out 2 hit about just around the same. So those are the $2 billion movies right now. Joker has a good shot. Mufasa has a good shot, even though I'm not really looking forward to that movie, but for families and stuff, it's got a good shot. And I'm sure there's a couple others, but those are the ones to me that stand out overall. But Romulus is going to take a little bit off of that Deadpool money this week. But let's move on. And before we even do it, I want to tell you guys real quick about our good friends over at both. I've told you guys before about Raid Shadow Legends. You guys know that. And I'm also going to tell you about Hymns. So here you go. Take a listen. Hymns. Guys, when we leave the house, whether you got your phone, wallet, keys, how's your hair look? But if you're experiencing hair loss, you may not be so confident when you step outside your door. Now you got to get confident again, and you got to restore your hair. And you do it with Hymns, because nobody wants to lose your hair. And for men, it's common. And now with Hymns, the solution is simple. You try Hymns Hair Loss Solutions, and you'll be joining hundreds of thousands of subscribers who got their flow back. Hymns provides access to a range of hair loss treatments that work all the way from the comfort of your couch. They offer personalized chewable, orable, spray, and serum treatment options so you can find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online. Just answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if the treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, so if you feel like you're losing a part of yourself with your hair loss, get Hims and get your confidence back. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/bigthing, HIMS.com/bigthing for your personalized hair loss treatment options. So that's hims.com/bigthing. Results vary based on studios of topical and oral mixodal. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about one of our sponsors today. That's Raid Shadow Legends. You've been watching this channel long enough. You've heard it's one of the only mobile RPG games that I have played. And I'm not alone. There's over 4 million users that are playing Raid Shadow Legends. It's got over 250 million downloads. It's cool because it has over 850 playable champions. It's got 16 factions to choose from. It's got over 30 bosses to take down. It's got millions and millions of builds that you can work with. So this is a game that you are not going to be bored playing. It's got monthly content updates. It's fully cross-platformed. You can play it with everybody. So do me a favor, click on the link in the description and you will see why this is one of the most downloaded RPGs and why so many people are playing it. Go and give it a shot. What's great is the second you sign up, they give you a starter pack and they give you a champion, Big Elf, Big Ears, Tyrell. He's pretty awesome. Tyrell is highly regarded as one of the big players. He's got a lot of different things that come in, and all raid players talk about how incredible he is with the arsenal that he comes with. When you reach level 25, you get another starter pack. So come join me. You can join the clan Harloff when you sign up with Raid Shadow Legends. This isn't a silly game. This isn't a stupid game. This is a fun game. This is a game that you guys know me. It takes me a while to, like, oh, am I interested? And I'm interested. I talked about this a while ago, and I'm still talking about it now. So check it out. Its link is in the description. All right, thank you to our friends over at both Hims and Raid Shadow Legends. As I mentioned earlier before, yes, you can click on the link, you can purchase something, and that helps out the show, and you get yourself something wonderful. But by clicking on that link, click on the link, and you will go there, and you don't have to get yourself something. Of course, I'd love you to. But if you don't, just clicking on that link and looking around, that helps. Okay, let's keep moving on. All right, speaking of Deadpool, speaking of Channing Tatum said, hopefully we've cracked the code for the solo Gambit movie. During an appearance on Jimmy Fallon's show, Channing Tatum offered a positive update on plans for a solo Gambit movie at Marvel Studios. Channing Tatum never thought he'd get the chance to play Gambit after spending years developing the Ragin' Cajun solo movie, only to see the planned X-Men spinoff scrapped after taking over of 20th Century Fox, but he was finally given the opportunity to suit up as the mutant hero in Deadpool Wolverine. Despite initially playing the character for laughs, Tatum does break out Gambit's signature staff and charge up playing cards when he joins his fellow Resistance members to face off against Cassandra Nova and her forces in the Void. Tatum has been asked several times about the possibility of revisiting the Gambit movie under the MCU banner following the massive success of Deadpool and Wolverine, and gave what might be the most positive and telling response during an appearance on The Tonight Show. The Fly Me to the Moon star says that he'd kill kittens to return as Remy LeBeau, and says that they've hopefully cracked the code for the Gambit movie after Kevin Feige initially told him he'd need a bit of time to make the character fit in the MCU following the Disney Fox acquisition. It probably will only be a matter of time before Tatum gets to play Gambit again, and there are rumors that the characters will be part of the team in the upcoming Marvel Studio X-Men reboot. I'll start with you, Mike. Yeah, I'll start with you, because we've talked about this before. If they do and this is, Roxy and I did not see eye to eye on this, because Marvel does not have the luxury of doing what DC is doing right now. Because DC, when they announced their, hey, listen, we're going to do a DC universe, which is going to be all our movies that fit into this one timeline, but we also have Elseworlds. So you'll see Matt Reeves' Batman stuff, you'll see the Joker stuff, and there'll be other stuff that pops in there. So it'll be a couple different things. Marvel hasn't done that. Marvel Studios is like, everything that we do fits into the same timeline and maneuvers around one way or another and does this. Now, they could do a Channing Tatum Gambit. And when does that movie come out before the Avengers? It's clearly Ryan Reynolds pushing, and he's got the star power to do it right now, and he's got the power to do it because he's the first billion-dollar Marvel movie in a while. But how much do they make this movie for? Because originally, when they were thinking about doing a Gambit movie with Tatum, it was supposed to be like $200 million. Does this make sense to do this at all?
No. This, to me, come on, man. What are we doing here? Like, first of all, I cannot, and I know people went nuts for it, but I think they went nuts for it because the joke. Like, I can't watch a whole movie him going, oh, I'm about to make a name of myself up on here. You're going to remember me and my stand on. Like, that's what we're going to do. And wasn't the whole point to kill these all characters, and now they're coming into the MCU? Like, and then I heard this rumor, and it's again rumored, but I heard it through a couple places that Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, is going to be the Wolverine in Secret Wars. Like, no, these are done. Give us new X-Men.
Yeah,
it's done.
The whole point was to close out the Fox universe, right?
Like, what are we doing? This was kind of a nice kiss off to these characters that some that never got a closure and some that never got made, and they move on. Like, what are we doing here? These people that want the X-Men, do you just want the old Fox characters with a fresh coat of paint? Is that what you want? Like, like this to me is the stupid. Like, there's.
Well, Steph, it seems to me that the answer to that question is probably because this can be very addicting. We're like, oh, look, we made $1 billion. People love that part. It's one of the most. People are raving about it. They laugh at it. They dig it. They like what he did there. And then you start going, oh, maybe we can make some money off of that and do that. And instead of like the integrity of the character, because the character to me, I loved what Channing Tatum did in Deadpool Wolverine for what he did in that movie. Like, because
it fit the movie.
It fit the movie. So I want to see the kind of Gambit that I saw in X-Men 97. Like, that's the kind of Gambit that I want to see. But when you hear this, are you on the other side of it, Mike, or are you on the same side?
No, I feel that. I feel weary about just sending anything that's popular to a movie. And I think that habit, I don't think Marvel's doing that. I thought they weren't doing that anymore. I don't love that idea, like that something got popular on social media and that means we should make a whole movie about it. And it's like, there's a reason why social media is the home of memes. It's like these little things that are inside jokes that are funny and great for that little moment, but it's not necessarily universal to the extent of an entire movie franchise.
I agree with you guys, but I do think that what they will say, and especially look at what Ryan Reynolds did for Blake Lively's movie. That movie cost maybe $35 million to make, that new one that she just put out, right? And because she's part of that Deadpool and Wolverine machine, that movie made $55 million its opening weekend on a romantic comedy movie that probably would have most likely played on a streaming service, but was part of that machine, used the publicity behind it, promoted the movie. He produced part of it, pushed it out, more money into the Reynolds household, right? So this is something, the guy can use that star power and use the Deadpool and Wolverine thing. I'm not telling you, Mike, whether or not I agree with you. Creatively, I agree with you. I'm telling you that business-wise, they're probably going to look at it and say that if we get a Gambit movie with Tatum out fast enough, we can probably make some cash off of it. If they do it after Secret Wars, it'd be stupid.
But like, who's the villain going to be? I could ask anyone, give me a Gambit villain that will fill a film. You won't be able to say anything.
Well, that they can make.
Magneto? No, you don't get to use any of them.
But I mean, that could be the argument. But isn't that the same argument though?
Nah, dude, he died. Like, this to me is like,
who died?
Here's the thing: if Disney never bought Fox, yeah, you could have made Deadpool and kind of had all the Fox characters come back. You wouldn't have been able to have the MCU kind of like timeline thingy going on, but you really could have done a Deadpool Wolverine with Fox characters. Gambit pops up, and then you're like, well, this worked out. Let's go down Gambit route. But no, the MCU, Feige, they're all going on board.
Well, it's not. Look, it's not guaranteed yet. It could also be a lot of hype from the actors.
You think they can't get a Blade movie off the ground, but they're going to go and greenlight Gambit?
Because they
get out of here.
They got a different team.
Nonsense. Well, I'm going to be the guy in the show from now on that calls friggin' nonsense
from now on?
Your guys' shenanigans.
From now on? All right.
Nonsense. That's what I'm doing.
All right. This is the last story, and that is that Beetlejuice, the sequel, it targets a $60 to $80 million debut. Tim Burton's long-gested supernatural comedy sequel, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is expected to be one of the biggest films of the fall. Just how big is the obvious question, and now the film has appeared on long-range tracking forecasts, with Box Office Pro reporting that the film is targeting a domestic opening weekend debut of 60 to 80 million. Burton hasn't opened a film higher than 50 million since 2010's Alice in Wonderland, but there's a lot of interest in the sequel to the beloved 1988 dark comedy, which remains one of Burton's signature films. Aside from Transformers 1, which is going to be for a different demographic, Beetlejuice 2 has no real studio tentpole competition until the Joker sequel the following month. Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara return from the original film and are joined by Jenna Ortega, Willem Dafoe, Justin Theroux, and Monica Bellucci. It opens on September 6th. So this movie, I feel, and I probably want to crunch the numbers and see, but I feel like it has the opportunity to become the biggest September movie of all time. It comes out in September 6th. Traditionally, September movies are like the second toilet bowl of the season, because you get January where the studios dump in the movies that they don't really promote too hard, and then they wait after the summer season. September is that kind of dumping ground until October, November, December hits, where they push out either the big budget movies or the ones they think are going to win awards. But September 6th is right in that spot normally where you go, oh, is there something wrong with it? But it doesn't seem that way, because they seem like they're really pushing it. People are saying some positive things about it. The hype is real behind it. And you read everything about it. They're doing these practical effects. I think it only cost $75 million to make. I think it makes close to $90 million its opening weekend. I think it's going to be a massive hit. Steph, are you excited for the movie? And do you think that it's going to be a major win for Warner Brothers and Tim Burton?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I think they did a great job of meshing, like, almost a separation of three plus generations of people who have liked this movie, and then trying to get the younger kids. And so I think Jenna Ortega is a perfect pick for that, perfect introduction. And then Winona Ryder as well, for people who maybe only knew her from Stranger Things, which would be shocking, but I could totally see that if I was younger, I might have been like, oh, she's from Stranger Things and not everything else. And then I think that, I don't know, I feel like a rumbling and like the goth kids are coming back in town. So I just think it's going to be really like a perfect hit, especially right before Halloween, which for all the Halloween girlies, we start in like August now.
Right.
People are starting their Halloween decorations. So I think it's like a perfect time. It could be synced up really well and just be a good, like, to me it just has to be a good movie, and I think it will be well worth going to the theater for.
Yeah, and don't discount the theater goers, meaning the Broadway people, because that was a massive hit. The Beetlejuice show, it was a massive hit. And
right.
And so, granted, different story from what the original movie is. But still, it created a lot of Beetlejuice fans, and I think that between that, everything you just said, I think it's going to take kind of the Cobra Kai model of take the older crew, the older generation, like as where Cobra Kai had, we get to see Johnny and Daniel going at it again, but then the newer generation is like, yeah, but who's Miguel? Who's Robbie? Who's Sam? Who's Tori? Like that type of stuff. And they're going to do the same thing here, as you mentioned, Steph, with like Jenna Ortega through Wednesday. And I think you're 100% right, by the way. The younger generation is not going to know Winona Ryder from the other stuff. They might know her from obviously going back and watching Beetlejuice, the first one, but they're going to know her from Stranger Things. And that's how my daughter discovered her from Beetlejuice, but then became a major Stranger Things fan. It was like, that's the same person. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, Mike, you're a big Beetlejuice guy, right? The first one.
Yeah, I like the first one.
And are you? What about this one?
Yeah, I think I'm the only thing, and I know Steph, you'd said like Halloween people celebrate early on, but I'm like, in no world does this film stay in theaters for Halloween.
Oh no!
2 months later, it's not in theaters. It's like that. Why would you release this like October 15?
Too much competition. Too much competition.
But if you think you're strong enough.
Nah, it doesn't matter if you're strong enough or not. You still too much. This is if this movie is good, clearly it's tracking at $80 million on a September 6th release. They're doing something. This was the right play. Because
all right,
because
what do I know? I don't know crap.
I'm just telling you, if it makes money on those first, I think it's got an opportunity to stick around until Halloween. Probably not.
Nah.
You're probably right, but it's got an opportunity to do so, even in like limited theaters at that point. Even if if Warner Bros. Like, yeah, you know what, put it back for the weekend there, just in case, because we made all this money on it. But I think this movie makes hand over fist. I think anyway, it makes its budget back within 2 weeks. Or it makes its production budget back probably opening weekend, but it makes its entire run back within the next weekend after that.
It's going to be an interesting thing. It really is, because like you'd said, Burton hasn't had a hit in a very long time.
Right.
Whether you like the movie or not, getting Keaton back as Batman was not the thing that they thought it was going to be. It didn't do what they thought it was going to do.
Oh, you mean in The Flash?
In The Flash.
Yeah, well, that wasn't him.
So, what's up?
That wasn't Burton, though.
Yeah, but it's Keaton in the role that he's...
Sure.
I would argue Keaton is more famous for Batman than he is Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't think I'd argue with you on that.
Yeah,
but
he is known. Like, because there's been so many more Batman, and he's still the Batman.
Yeah, dude.
So I don't know. There's a lot of I know the
but let me cut
that love this film are going to show up.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay, take my line.
I gave you that line. So but no, what I was going to say is that yes, I agree that perhaps Keaton is known as Batman. However, Beetlejuice is an iconic character.
No doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
So go ahead.
No, you've got to get the new people in.
Yeah.
Like all the generations we're talking about, they're playing right. There's a whole group of Jenna Ortega fans that have come up over the past year with Wednesday. You got to think outside the box for this to be huge.
Yeah.
It's true. I don't remember, like, because I didn't see Beetlejuice as a kid in theaters. I saw it later, like on VHS or something. But I don't remember, was it a huge hit when it came out?
It was pretty big.
Or was it one of those things that built over time?
I think both. I think it had a pretty nice opening, and for the 80s, you didn't have to have those big, huge $50-60 million openings in order to be a hit. It was different. The budgets are smaller. It was a different time. But I think that the other thing, Burton has not had a movie hit in a while. But don't forget that he was part of Wednesday, and Wednesday was massive. And Wednesday, he directed a lot of them, and
all the cards are there set up right for this to be a hit.
I think it's going to be massive. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be huge? Do you think it's going to be one of the biggest September movies of all time? Are you excited for it? Put your comments in there. Tell us exactly what you think. We have run out of our time, and I'm so glad that I had a chance to talk to both Mike and Steph today. And Steph, where can they find you?
At Steph Bra on the World Girls, 6 p.m. tonight.
Mike?
At Mike Kalinowski. Simple, easy.
Perfect.
There you go.
Hit that subscribe button. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere podcasts are found. Don't forget to subscribe to my new YouTube Clips channel, the Kristian Harloff Clips channel. All my interviews that I do, we have them there. Not only do we have past interviews from David Castaneda from the Umbrella Academy, Murr from the Impractical Jokers. We're going to have on, we had Nestor Carbonell from Shogun on there, Steph. I don't know if you saw that.
What?
Yeah. We had him on. I mean, Roxy and I interviewed Nestor. And we talked to him about that. We talked to him about Lost. We talked about all that stuff. And those clips will be up there soon. We have from Fallout and Lost again. We got Michael Emerson going to be on the show. So we have a lot of stuff coming up. Thanks for joining us here today. Subscribe to both those channels. And we will see you guys back here tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye. That's not what I wanted to do.